1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com, Levac and Dubsy. We've got our Houston Texans insider from Sports Talk 790 in Houston, Cliff Saunders. Cliff, Texans are underdogs in this matchup with the Chiefs. Should they be?
Absolutely, Levac. Anybody who has watched the Chiefs, anybody who has watched the Texans, shouldn't really be giving the Texans all that much of a chance to win this game. I mean, first of all, there was the Week 1 27-20 Chiefs victory over the Texans. That was not as close as the final score would tell you. You remember that Brian Hoyer came off the bench for an Ryan Mallett came off the bench for an ineffective Brian Hoyer and threw a couple of late touchdown passes. There have been so many quarterbacks going in and out of the Houston lineup, I kind of get confused. But the bottom line is, who have the Texans beat over the last couple of months, other than the Bengals? Anybody that scares you? Jacksonville? No, thank you. Tennessee?
They're rebuilding.
Next? I don't see why the Texans should be getting more respect than they've been getting.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that the defense is going to be the key to win this game for the Houston Texans.
Well, the defense has been what's been carrying this team for the last, I would say, 9 games, 10 games or so, and the defense has played very well. There's no doubt about that. J.J. Watt has had a little bit of a resurgence since the cast came off, but Andy Reid's a smart cookie, and I think he's going to, you might see more than one double team or more than one triple team on J.J. Watt. Other guys are going to have to step up. And I'm still not sure, and I know that Whitney Merciless has had a terrific season, but again, you got to look at the level of competition that the Texans were playing, and you can't be fooled by blowout wins over teams like Tennessee and over teams like Jacksonville. And a lot of people here in Houston are drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm just not seeing it.
Cliff Saunders from Sports Talk 790 in Houston, right here on Armin and Levac, 1045 The Team. So, Cliff, when I look at Houston, though, like I see New England Patriots South, Bill O'Brien, Romeo Crennel, Vince Wilfork's down there. They've got that workmanship, they find a way to win kind of attitude to them. Am I just giving them too much credit this year? You may be. I think you're going to have to really wait until next year, maybe when they get a better quarterback, and I think that's going to be their top priority. They need a running game. I mean, they've got all these running backs that do little things, but they're all filling in for Arian Foster. You're going to have to make a decision on Arian Foster. I would expect the Chiefs to shut down the Texans' running game of Alfred Blue and Hunt and Grimes and Chris Polk. From that standpoint, you're right. It does remind you a little bit of New England in the early days of the Belichick era because they never really had a workhorse type of running back. But none of the guys that are carrying the ball for the Texans are equal to what we saw in New England, especially when they were winning 3 Super Bowls. If you can stop DeAndre Hopkins, and nobody really has been able to do that this year, there's really not a secondary wide receiver that scares you. And there's no NFL representative tight end on this roster. It's Griffin every once in a while will catch a pass. C.J. Fedorowicz has been a monumental disappointment in his 2 years in the league. They've been doing it with smoke and mirrors. A lot of gadget plays from Gotze, the offensive coordinator. But other than that, I would expect a playoff team like the Chiefs and a team that's as red hot as the Chiefs to shut them down.
And Cliff, you speak about how hot the Chiefs are right now. 10 straight games win. What is the biggest threat you see right now with this Kansas City Chiefs team?
Well, they just do everything. They do nothing spectacularly, but everything well. It's one of those kind of teams. Alex Smith, when you look at him, he doesn't necessarily scare you, but he gets the job done. And you look at the running backs. Individually, they don't necessarily scare you. They seem to get the job done. It's just a team in the truest sense of the word. They have gelled, and that's why they've won these 10 games in a row.
All right, so it's great follow at Cliff Saunders. He's Cliff Saunders. He's our Houston Texans insider, Sports Talk 790. Though you don't sound like the biggest Texans fan, I can tell you that. I'm gonna put it out there though. Who wins this game?
You know, truth be told, I grew up in Manhattan, and I grew up rooting for the Jets, and they've been killing me slowly since 1980.
So you're a little bitter still, is what you're trying to tell me, Cliff.
The Texans are fun to watch when you're actually at NRG Stadium, but some of the fans just go a little overboard.
All right, so who's going to win this game on the weekend, on Saturday?
I think it's going to be Kansas City, and I think it's going to be by a couple of touchdowns.
Wow.
Not even close. Follow him on Twitter, at Cliff Saunders, 790, Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Cliff, thanks for the time, brother.
Anytime, Levac. Thank you too, Dubsy.